Okay. Looks like I'm live. Hi, everybody. So I'm back, working on my frog and trying to work out, or I think I have worked out a solution to the back panel that I was discussing in the last live I did. So I can show you a little bit of the progress. I feel as though usually with these frogs, I am doing them all at one time. And one of the things I'm noticing, given the way the world is right now, that I'll put something down and then I'll pick it back up to work on it. And I've noticed that my gauge is a little different. So if these guys look a little wonky, that's totally fine too, because you want to put your own kind of stink on it, right? So here's my completed frog. As I mentioned, oops, last time, sorry, I was working on a foot. There goes a leg. So I mentioned last time, this is the original back as part of the pattern that was released that I did in collaboration with Cartoon Network. So this was the piece that I was looking most to change. So I did a sample. I played around with it a little bit. Obviously, I did a Whip Wednesday a few days ago where I was actually just trying to work out this scenario right here, and how I would go ahead and change this pattern in order to make it something that I preferred the look of. I mean, obviously, when I first did this, my knowledge of certain fiber arts was a little bit different 10 years ago than it is today, obviously. So, so this is what the original looks like. He's cute, but I thought I could improve at least upon this. So the look that I was going for was I wanted to have sort of like a lumpy bumpy situation. Now, obviously you'll see from this particular pattern, this is more shaped out for this particular pattern, where like you'll see there are some increases and decreases, and some of this right here that you'll see where the lines change, where the back panel is me just adjusting these stitches here and here and then pulling. So I did not do that for the new pattern. Also, with that being said, because the baubles that I used for the back are like triple crochet baubles, the actual rows are wider than they were in this original pattern. So I don't have the wideness of this last row here. So, but to show you the difference, here's my smaller frog done on F's, which is what I used for the big twist yarn and for the back panel. But because of the way I did the baubles, it ended up a bit different. So this is what I have for the back panel. So basically, you can see I wanted it to be lumpy and bumpy like you would have on a frog. So what I did was did a number of rows of baubles, and then when I got to the end, the very last row, which would be row 4 in the pattern, I went ahead and started with single crochets, did the tiniest bit of shaping in 2 baubles here to cover the back of this eye bump, then single crochets all the way around until we got back to this, where this eye bump would be, and did a little bit of shaping, 2 baubles, and then back to the single crochets up here to finish the row. So that when I put this on and I start to sew it, I can pull these out over the back of the eye bumps. Now you'll notice that this is straight here. If you feel so inclined, you can pull it and sew it down to give it shaping. That's entirely up to you how you want to handle it. You can also just keep it straight, because obviously you're going to be attaching a leg here. You'll be attaching some arms here. And that's how that'll work out. So with that being said, this is what I have worked out so far for the back panel. However, I haven't tried doing this particular back panel with the doubled yarn yet to compensate for this guy. I don't assume that I'm going to have any issues. I'm going to assume that given the nature of these stitches and the yarn that I'm using to do the back panel for this dude, he'll have, it'll work out being the same size. So like I said, this is a little bit more stretchy. Obviously it looks like you would have a crocheted blanket, what have you, just as a solid block of color on the back of your frog, whereas this is going to give you actual texture right here. So if you'd like to see what I did, I can work up a little bit on the yarn doubled to see how we end up, because I have basically all the pieces done for my frogs, with the exception, let me see where my guy went here, with the exception of the back panel for my big guy. Okay, so this is what I was working on last time, and from my previous live, these I had done sort of like a double crochet bobble instead of a triple crochet bobble. This is a triple crochet bobble. I didn't like that when I was working on these, they were starting to get really flat, and I'd have to kind of like prompt them to be more lumpy bumpy. This I don't have to worry about. I crocheted it pretty tight, and those triples are just popping. So with that being said, I'm going to take this apart right now, and we're going to start over. And I want to show you what I mean by bobble, because I didn't write those notes down on my paper. But I will have the opportunity for you to grab a screen grab during this, so you can see what my notes were, and then you can just follow them directly. But while we're doing that, I might as well show you what I mean by bobble, since I did it differently last time. Okay, so we're going to take our dark green yarn and make a slip knot, and this is the beginning of the back panel. Then what we're going to do is chain 13. Sorry, I'll have dog hair everywhere. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And my yarn's a little bit curly because I just had it in that original back panel that I did in the last live. Okay. It says to do 2 double crochet in 4th stitch from the end of the chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to wrap once, put it in the 4th stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We'll do that twice. And you'll see in just a minute how I was able to get this to be more like popped out. Okay. So then what you're going to do in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in the next 8 stitches is you're going to bobble, double crochet 4 times. So you're going to be doing bobble in the first stitch, double crochet in the next, bobble in the next, double crochet in the next, over those 8 stitches. Okay, so first things first, we're going to do our first bobble. you're going to wrap the yarn around your crochet hook twice, as if you're doing a triple crochet. And then, yeah, I think that's right. I'm going to start second guessing myself. Yarn over, pull through the hoop. So I have 4 loops on my hook. We're going to do 1, 2, and we're going to keep that on the hook. And honestly, this could be considered a cluster. I'm just going by what I actually did. I called it a bobble, but I mean, I don't do bobbles that much, so you know, it could be a cluster. Whatever it's called, this is how you're going to do it. So I have that, and I kept it on my hook. I then, while the last portion that I normally would yarn over and pull through is still on the hook, I'm going to yarn over again twice, put through the same stitch, pull up a loop. Okay, yarn over, pull through 2. And of course I'm using doubles, so I got to make sure I'm very careful to pull through both. And now I have 2 of those legs in the same stitch. What we're going to do is we're going to do that same thing one more time. Yarn over twice, put it into the stitch, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. Now I'm a visual learner, so I want you to take a look. This was my double crochet, the second double crochet in that first chain, 4 from the end. I did this leg, and I did it 3 times. So I have 3 legs on there, and then the original double crochet. That was the stitch right before it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull that yarn over through all 3 and tighten it up. There's our first bobble or cluster, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Then in this next chain, we're going to do a double crochet. So we're going to wrap around once, yarn over, pull up a loop, go through 1, go through 2. And I like to tighten it up a little bit. And the act of just kind of like tugging it snug, yes, it's going to make your tension a little bit tighter, but it pops this bobble like right out. So if you're looking for this type of effect on the back of your frog, I think this is going to be the way to go. And so you're going to do now again a bobble. And I always like when I'm crocheting, I'm like bloop and bloop, bloop. I talk to myself a lot while I'm working. There's usually a lot of stimming involved, leg bouncing like I was doing in my previous video. Okay, so there's my previous double crochet. There are my 3 legs. Yarn over, pull through all those loops and just snug it up. There's number 2. Then we're going to yarn over and do a double crochet. Oops, in, let's see, the next stitch. So now there we have 2 bobbles. Like I said, very textural. You can pop those babies right out, and it looks bumpy. So that is how I went about getting this. Now, when I did my notes, I tried to make sure that I was doing the mirror opposite on these, but you'll see for like the initial chain, they're kind of like stagger stepped, whatever, which is fine. I mean, it doesn't have to be symmetrical. Nothing in life is symmetrical. So here's our next bobble. There's 2 and 2 and 2, and then through, snug it up, make a double crochet. And the cool thing about this, when I was doing the back panel, one of the things that I was really able to do was I was able to kind of keep track of where I was. Um, because with all of this, it's like, oh, okay, well, I need to make these baubles. All right, well, I have to have 8 of them in this row, 8 sets of bobble, double crochet, bobble, double crochet. I've already got 3. So there you go. The less you have to count, like to big numbers, the better. Because I'll be honest, like, I was just working on the legs of this frog over here. And I was watching the latest John Oliver, and I lost track of where I was, and I had to kind of wing it a little bit. So, you know, anything that makes your life easier is always a good thing. Okay, so then we've got our double crochet. And it is going to curl up on you. Oh, whoops. Obviously, that's not going to be an issue once you know, secure it down. Once you have more stitches in here, so it'll lay flat. But there you go. There are your 4 bobbles on this side. Then what you do is there's this last chain here, and the way that this pattern is written, it's you go down the chain. Okay, go down the chain. You then start stitching back this direction. Then when you get to this last chain, you're going to start turning a corner, and then you're going to start stitching back this way. So what you end up having, for those folks who don't do a lot of amigurumi or aren't used to doing things in the round, it's just a great big oval. You just start with your center of chains, you go around the corner, and then we're going to be turning the corner again and going down the side. Okay, so we have our 4 bobbles, clusters, whatever they are. In the last stitch of the chain, you're going to do 2 double crochets. There's 1. There's 2. And then you're going to do a bobble, which is in theory going to take us around this corner here. So around twice. There's 1. And if it looks like I'm struggling hard with this yarn, I am. Because I do have a tendency to crochet really tight. And that's what I'm doing. Okay, so then we have our 3 legs right there and our original double crochet, and we're going to go through all those loops, and then we're going to snug it up. Okay, and then 2 more double crochets in that same stitch. Oh, whoopsies. I was looking at my chat and not my stitch. Hi, hi, hi. Okay, so there we go. So starting here, going around, doing our 2 double crochets right here on the end of this last bobble, double crochet, doing one of those bobbles at the very top, and then another 2 crochet. So now we're on the opposite side of our chain. So another reason why these don't line up directly across from one another is because when you're doing a chain, it looks like a braid. It's basically a chain of slip knots. So the legs on one side of the chain and the legs on the other side of the chain are not going to match perfectly. So then what you do, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. So I did bobble DC, and then we're gonna bobble. Oh, wait a minute. Bob double. I'm gonna change something. Maybe this might work. Look at me, changing things on the fly. Okay, so I did a bobble double crochet. Now I had bobble double crochets on the other side, but I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then that would be, that one's the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we need to be in here. Okay, I'm going to change this up and see if this works. So here's a double crochet, then a bobble. Let's see how well this lines up. Oh, whoops. I gotta wrap twice for that bobble. Okay. Isn't it funny? Like, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, I was working on this for like a million years. And then you're like, wait a minute, now I know why this doesn't look this way. Okay, that's cool and all. Changing things on the fly, that's how I operate. Because let me tell you, I'm no expert at this stuff. If you're looking for experts on things, this is not the place to be. I make stuff up as I go along many times. And I like to experiment a lot. So when I'm not seeing it to begin with, it's good that I get to do it again. So maybe then I can see it. That looks like that's going to work. So, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So I think that I'm going to change this pattern for you. Wait a minute. Okay, so we're going to bloop, 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 bloop. We're going to double crochet bobble times 4, opposite the stitches you already worked. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that one's going to have to be in that little doodah right there. Okay, so here we go. Yes, some of my friends are on the chat and they know me so well that I do things on the fly quite a bit. That is my shtick. Experimentation is my game. Okay, so yeah, y'all, I fixed it. Okay, if you're a symmetry baby and you're like, Stacey, I need to have this even. If I don't have it even, I'm gonna cry. And one of you people in my chat might be one of those people who needs to have it even. That's not a dig. You know I love you. Okay, so you're the reason I'm fixing this. Okay, so here we go. They're right directly across from each other. Lord help me. Okay, I fixed the pattern. So, oh my gosh, look at this. Look at us learning together. We're going to learn together. We're going to grow. It's going to be fantastic. Oops, I didn't wrap twice. See, that was the thing I was doing when I originally did this the other day for my Whip Wednesday, which was technically on a Thursday, but I mean, who's following directions anymore? As you can see, I have a Christmas tree up behind me, and it might stay up all year. Yes, Angelique, you. Because you may want to make this, and then you'll be like, oh, this is freaking me out that it doesn't line up or whatever. I mean, me, I don't mind that stuff, but I know you do, and I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for all of you. Okay, so there we go. There's another one, and we're gonna bloop straight through those, and then we're gonna do, oh, man, I did this tight. Oh, it's squeaky. It's so squeaky. And I thought here the ASMR was going to be listening to my sparkling water here off to the side that I popped the cap on right before I started. And I thought, oh, I should have waited. Everybody loves that sound. The sound of opening up a can of Coke or something. Okay. So There's one, wrap around twice. I know some of this might be a little fast, but I'm gonna assume like probably most of you guys know how to crochet. I'm assuming. Y'all might know more than me. I just kind of like I said, I wing it. So is this a bobble or is this a cluster? I think it's a bobble. I think it's a bobble. Anyway, so we're gonna DC bobble times 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what we're gonna do is 2 double crochet in the next stitch, which is this one right here. Got a squeak in there, squeak. I know those of you who have worked with acrylic yarn, the struggle is real. It's very squeaky sometimes, especially if you crochet as tight as I do. Look at that. Basically even Stevens. I'm so proud of myself right now. Okay, so when you see this one right here, obviously, well, it could be a bobble, it could be a cluster. I think it's a bobble. I probably should have looked that up. I mean, some person on the internet is gonna be like, that's not a bobble, that's a cluster. I don't know. I'm just winging it. We're all human here. Okay, so here's the center one at the bottom. So you can see when we're working this is gonna be the top where our rows start and end. So there you go. So where you see this one bobble in the bottom center, obviously it was in the top when I was working my way around up to here. Now we're gonna turn it around like this. And then, so I did my last 2 double crochets in that last doodah. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna attach ourselves to the chain here, which was the original chain I did, and do a slip stitch. There you go. So there, you're right in the center. Like that. So it's a really cool effect. And honestly, I like it way better than my original design. Because I don't know why I never did that to begin with. Like I said, my knowledge of crochet back then, I mean, I only know what my grandma taught me when I was little. And I've done like granny squares, not a lot of bobbles, not a lot of clusters, but with that being said, I crocheted 6 of the 6-day star blankets over the holiday, and there are all kinds of stitches in that, so that kind of got me thinking like, oh, this would be fun to have something kind of textury. Okay, so anyway, so that is the end of that row, and you can grab whatever little stitch marker you have so you know roughly where you're at. Then you're going to chain 3 and double crochet in the same stitch. I'm gonna guess that's this baby right here. See, look at me winging it. Probably his back one. Hold on. Girlfriend needs to get new glasses. There we go. We're gonna put it in there. You know, whatever looks good. Okay, and then what you're gonna start doing is you're gonna start doing bobbles all the way around. So then you end up with this. Okay, with that being said, get ready for a screen grab, everyone. I hope you could read my, whoops, I got a lot of yarn here. I hope you can read my writing. So I'm going to put this right here. And if you have a hard time, let me see if I can, because I wrote it in pencil. Hopefully you can see what that says. And I would say right about now is a good time to make a screen grab so that you have it. This is the bobble pattern for the back. And so, like I had mentioned, when you're sewing this onto the back of the frog, which, I mean, if you want kind of a guide as to where you think you might put the legs and arms on, maybe you might want to put the back piece on first. I don't necessarily know that the pattern calls for it that way, but I've done it both ways. But if you decide to do extra shaping on this, let me get my glasses, girl. For real, right? Struggle is real. Us with poor eyesight. A lot of times when I'm doing this, I'm doing the whole looking under my glasses thing. I can't see regardless. But yeah, so hopefully you can take a screen grab, and if you need to darken it, what have you, this is the new back pattern. And I changed it right here, which is where we now have symmetry, and it'll be equal on both sides. Yeah. So screen grab that stuff. And so, like I was saying, for the back piece, then what you can do, move that out of the way, is this is the back. I like to also too, when you're making these, if you haven't attached your face on yet, which I have clearly, that hasn't happened yet here because I've been making all kinds of like limbs and body parts and stuff. It's just a pile of body parts here, as you can see. If you haven't attached your face, it's always good to maybe keep a couple stitch markers in there. Like I know, oh wait, that's where I started my round. So you probably want to, I don't know, have this be the back. Much like if you're knitting a sweater or making a sock, you want to kind of have where you start and end. Although we're working in a spiral here, so it's not like you can really tell, but it's just my brain tells me this needs to be the back. So here's my piece. I left a really long tail, so you can see that I did that. And like I said, if you're making this, what you can do is, I'm gonna tie this just for funsies. Here's where I started. And I'm just gonna stick it through one of these and do a little loop-de-doo like this. And then I'm just gonna cut it. Stick a couple of knots in it. Cut it. Nobody cares. Nobody's gonna know. It's gonna be underneath. Nobody will see it. I love that too. There's a crocheter out there. She's fantastic. I follow her on Insta, and she makes like cute little potted plants. Now I have a potted, oh, you probably can't see it from here, but back here, you can see above my my fireplace is an oil painting of Darth Vader and a woman knitting, and he's holding her yarn. It's kind of hard to see from that far away. But I've also got Princess Leia over here, and then there's the Hatbox Ghost, and then there's a crochet cactus back there. So anyway, she makes these crochet cactuses, and what she does is she makes like little like middle fingers, and if she has to give one of these cactuses to somebody that she's not exactly thrilled with, what she'll do is she'll stuff the middle finger amigurumi inside the cactus. It's really cute. So you know what you don't know. Anywho, so here's the end of my thing. I'm just gonna like kind of try to tuck this in a little bit just so it evens it out a little bit. Like that. See, look at pretty. And then what I can do is I can start sewing it on and have this be the first thing I do. I'm so hard on these poor little stitch markers, goodness gracious. I've already broken like 2 of them just from yanking on them. Okay, so like I had mentioned before, some people are not super into these ridges from crocheting through the back loop. I personally like them because it kind of gives me a guide, and it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't bother me that they're there, right? It just, it's fine. If you're not into that, that's cool too. Use whatever you would use as a guide. But, like, let's say I want this dude to be attached right through this, roughly this row, which obviously you can see it doesn't really connect here. Oh, whoops, sorry. It doesn't connect here because these are all done in spirals. So it would roughly be around here. And then you can just pop it through one of your stitches. Ooh, maybe, if it wants to, if it feels it can. And then you can go through one of these and go through, you can go through the back stitch, you can go through both stitches. Really, it's up to you. How does your brain work? Do you have certain, do you like certain aesthetic qualities that you are not finding in your pattern? Cool, well then change it, right? Just find a way. There's all different ways you can mod patterns and stuff. That's basically what this is. Like, you're just modding a pattern. So here's my next stitch. I'm gonna bring this one up here. Like I said, you know, feel your way. It's kind of the way. Will you like it? Will you hate it? You might not know. Maybe you'll take it out because you don't like it. That's cool too. Do whatever you like. Okay, so then we're gonna go up here and I'm gonna grab this guy. And then that way, see, you can kind of like get it to stretch around the back of this eye bump. So I'm gonna, how do I want to do this? I think I'm gonna go through here again, go through that same stitch, and then there's my next stitch. I'm gonna, how far do I want to stretch it? Let's try this one. Hopefully that's on camera. Totally. I try to be authentic. I'm usually, you know, since I'm not sure who you are, in case you don't know, I am somebody who works in the entertainment field behind the camera. I'm not a camera person. So, you know, I'm doing what I can while I'm out of work. There, see? I stretched it out a little bit. Covers his back little eye holes. He's got texture right here. It's looking good. And then, like I said, you could go straight down the back if you wanted. You could pull some of these out a little bit. Like, let's say I want to take like this third stitch, whatever, and try to like stretch them out. We can try to do that. That might work. You know? So let's see here. We'll do this guy right here. And a hook case. So where's my hook case? I have one somewhere. Are you, I'd love to know if you're crocheting one or what. I've got this. This was my grandmother's. It's got all my crochet hooks in it. I haven't made a bigger one or anything because this was my grandma's, so it's kind of special to me. I also have a favorite crochet hook, which is my size E hook because it's old. I don't know if that's going to stretch all the way here, but let's try it. It's old, and it was when they still stamped the price on the metal, so it's stamped 45 cents. I don't know. I don't know if I like that or not. Maybe that's too much. Let's see here. Let's Maybe I will just make it straight. I don't know. I'd have to kind of like, well, it's 1, 2, 3. Let's try something. Ooh, crocheting it. I bet it's going to be awesome. I love tools, and I love organization. So, not that you would think that looking at any of my craft supplies. So, you know, yeah, I'm not like the most organized person in the world. Um, I try. See, that's 4 and 5. Eh, maybe I'll do that. It comes forward a little bit, then we'll just go back. The thing is, too, I'm also, if it might stretch out a little bit more if I was going through both stitches, but I don't feel the need to do it. I'm only interested in just kind of filling in that space with color. And honestly, looking at these stitches and how they're kind of like going like this, I don't mind that so much because you can't see the light green underneath really. It's not, yeah. I love tools. I have so many tools, you guys. It's insanity. I love crochet hooks. I love um, support spindles because I spin. I have a collection of drop spindles. My birthday is this week, and I have a bunch of packages over here from my mom. And one of the packages that I haven't opened yet, but I know what it is a rope maker. So I'm interested to try that during one of my lives because I'm terrified and I want to make like I'm super into eyeballs and like hands and like witchy aesthetic stuff when I'm not being a total nerd and sci-fi person. And I made like a pennant on one of my grandma's old table runners. It's actually hanging up over there right now on a hanger because I haven't sewn the tube for it because I have a piece of wood dowel to now put inside it so I can hang it up and put it over here. But it's basically my grandma's embroidered table runner, and then I embroidered my hand. I did a tracing of my hand, and I did all like the different things that I'm into with an eyeball and moon phases and stuff like that. So anyway, I digress. The rope maker, what I'd like to do is I would like to make different colored rope and then put them together in like a big eyeball situation. Um, so that is something I could do maybe on the feed. Um, so yeah. Whatever you guys think will be fun, I'm all about it. All right. So there you go. There's a tiny little bit of shaping here. Little bit. Because I do like to have that shaping. And as you can see on this one had a lot of shaping. Obviously, these are a lot easier to stretch. This, a little bit less so. But honestly, look at the difference. It's really amazing. So, my plan then is to finish these guys up, and hopefully in the next time I'm here, which I do this on Mondays at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I know I should be really much better about posting it on my social media because I see that Nicole is not here. And Nicole's usually here. And I was really bad and I didn't post it on my social media. But I'll start doing that And if people like it, then I'll do more stuff. And like I said, if anybody has any suggestions, because I'm the type of person who likes to learn all different kinds of textile arts and then put them all together, I would love any suggestions if you're looking to learn something too. A couple things that I have in my arsenal right now is I have a bag of pin loom squares. And if you're not familiar with pin weaving, it's super fun. I'm hoping to put together an actual program on how to do these for the Greater Los Angeles Spinning Guild, of which I am one of the board members and have been a longtime board member. This is my hand spun yarn, and I made 91 of these squares. They all fit in a gallon size bag in different patterns. Here's some houndstooth. With this hand spun, the pink and red and light pink and those colors, that was a combo spin that I did for Guild. And the teal color is Oink Cumulus, which is beautiful, also hand spun by me. And I want to find a way to attach all of these together to make it like a massive shawl. So that's one of the things I have that I would like to maybe do while I'm on the live. Or I also have my travel cardigan, or travel shell cardigan by Dre Renee Knits. I have that sitting here as well, and it's like completely done with the exception of I haven't put the pockets on it yet. So, you know, here's my beautiful sweater. Here's my pockets. It's been sitting here for months. So, you know, I have a lot of stuff I could do on my lives. So if you have suggestions or you want to learn something, I can try to do it. And I think that's going to be it for today. Like I said, if you didn't get a chance to take a screenshot, here it is again. I can't really see if there's a kind of a glare from this particular light right here. Oh, maybe that's a little bit better. Oh, can you see that better? Yeah. So, oh, wait a minute, because the chat's over it. Okay. Wait. Take a screen grab. That's the lumpy bumpy back piece. And I'll finish doing the one for the big one and get all the pieces sewn together for the next live. Maybe I'll keep a couple pieces and sew them on the next live. And yeah, that's it.